What's going on, everybody? I want to talk about in this video about why I like the vehicles from the 1990s. Now keep in mind, I'm born in 1984, but I'm a 1990s kid at heart. So back when I was a kid, I've always been so interested and obsessed with automotive from the time I was in school. And I couldn't stop talking about it in the years ahead as I got older. So I'll tell you why I like vehicles from the 90s. And I'm using this pickup truck as an example. As you can see, it says on the title 1997 Ford F-250 4x4 7.3 power stroke. I use that as an example because I like the old body style trucks from Ford from when they had the International powered 7.3 IDI to the 7.3 power stroke. And in my opinion, vehicles from the 1990s last longer and have more longevity than the present day vehicles. But I'm only stating it in my opinion because I pretty much grew up with these kinds of vehicles that I've seen when I was a kid. So I'm going to probably go around and show you another example. I know you see all the 94.5 to 97 Ford trucks that have this kind of engine, the 7.3 liter power stroke. Ooh, and there's a Ford Bronco from 1966 to 1977. And this is a, let me zoom in, 87 to 91 Ford Bricknose. All right, let's go look at some more vehicles from the 90s. Okay, now check this car out right there. This is a Lexus LS400. I'm going to probably say it's like a 90 to 91-ish model, or it could be a little bit later. It's a Nissan Stanza. It's an 80s car. But there's a Lexus LS400 right there. When Toyota began to make Lexus around 1990, that was when Lexus became the luxury vehicles. About the same time as when Nissan made Infiniti, but 4 years prior, Honda made Acura. And look at this Chevrolet Corvette C4. That's a 1984 to 1996. But I'm going to guess it's probably a 93 to 94. There's a nice looking Dodge Viper RT10, which is a 96. And there's a 93-ish Mazda RX-7. There's a Ford Explorer from 1991 to 1994. The one in the photo is a 93. That replaced the Bronco 2 and was based on the Ford Ranger. You can see right here, it's got the same front clip as the Ford Ranger because that's what it resembled on the Ranger STX model. There's a 92, 96 Toyota Camry. I'm not going to go through every one of them, but I just thought I'd show you. Now there's an Acura Integra Type R 94 to 2001 when it was replaced with the Acura RSX in 2002. Remember this car? My high school teacher had one. He had a 93 that he and his wife bought brand new. They had a 93 green Ford Escort. Same body style. It was green. It was a 5-speed. It had the automatic shoulder belts. There's a 98 Viper RT10. There's a GTS Coupe, that's a 97. One of my personal favorites right there. The Mitsubishi Eclipse and the Eagle Talon. This is a second generation Mitsubishi from 1995 to 1999. But 1997 models saw some changes, and they stopped making them in 99, and the Eagle Talon in 1998, and we know the Plymouth Laser from 1990 to 94. There's a Jeep Grand Cherokee. That's a 93 to 98, but it's a 96 model to 98. There's a Jeep Cherokee from 1984 to 2001, but I'm going to take a guess and say it's a 96 right there. Probably a little bit earlier. And then another 96 Cherokee. And this body style of Cherokee was redesigned for the 97 model year, so I'm going to take a guess and say it's a 98 and 2001. There's a 91, 97 Isuzu Rodeo, and it's also a Honda Passport if you do a research on it. Anybody remember this car right there, the Dodge Spirit? Tell you the truth, I never did like this car because I never even liked it. I was never a fan of this body style of this car, or the Plymouth Acclaim, or the Chrysler LeBaron of this body style. But when people first bought those brand new, I could at the time understand why they liked them so much and put a lot of miles on it. There's a Mazda 323 right there, which is also a Mazda Protege in disguise. They made this hatchback around 1990 and the Mazda Protege. And there's a Honda CRX from 1984 to 87, but I'll show you the CRX from the later years. Right there. That's a 1988 to 91 CRX. There's a 94 to 97, although they put 95, but this body style discontinued in 1997, as well as a sedan and wagon. And there's the Mitsubishi Eclipse, first generation from 1990 to 94. But this is a 1990 to 91 because of the pop-up headlights and the rear end. This is Mitsubishi. From 92 to 94, they had the fixed headlamps on there. Then there's the Honda Prelude, which was made from 1992 to 96, and that one's a 93. And there's a BMW. I don't know if it's a 7 Series or not. It's probably from the 90s or the early 2000s. And there's a Mercedes-Benz W126. Don't know if it's a 300 SDL or the 350 SDL, or if it's even a gasoline version from 91. Oh, there's an Acura Integra. That's a 1990 to 94. And again, 1994 to 2001, that's a 98. Oh, remember this car? The Saturn SL series? That is a 96 to 99, that one. And that's a 2000 to 2002 Saturn. Check out that Cavalier. The original Cavalier of this body style goes back to 1995 and discontinued in 1999. But the 2000 to 2005s would have this body style. And there's a Lincoln Navigator, which was made in 1998, and to look like a luxurious Expedition. Remember this SUV right there? The Ford Explorer from 95 to 2001. They would make this well into 2002, I think. Not sure. But I know the four-door model was redesigned. Aha, there's a Ford Ranger right there. Can't see it too good in the video, but this one is a 93 to 97, and that's a 96. My uncle had one, then he had a 98, and they were 5 speeds. And that's an Audi convertible. I don't know what kind of model it is. It's probably from the early mid-90s. There's a Fox body right there, 87 to 93, and that's a 1990 LX 505 speed, or it might be automatic. And there's a Mustang SVT, or it might be the Mustang Boss, 94 to 98. There's a Ford Contour Mercury Mystique, made from 1995 till either 2000 or 2001 for both of these cars. But I never did like either the Ford Contour or the Mercury Mystique. Never did like those cars. Well, there's a Ford Bronco. That's a 92 to 96. 1987 to 91. That's a 1990. Ooh, Toyota 4Runner. This body style, well, went up until 89, I believe. There's a 91 Bronco. Let's check some more stuff out. Oh, look what I found, a Mitsubishi Montero. In overseas countries, it's also known as the Pajero and the Shogun. They would also have diesel engines available, but not in the US. This is a second generation Mitsubishi Montero from the 90s. Probably redesigned from 92 to whatever year it is. I'm guessing 97. But the first generation Montero, such as this one, if it was ever a four-door, would be from 1982 until 91. Again, there's a second generation. And this says Mitsubishi Shogun. Oh, look at that. A Jurassic Park Ford Explorer. Ooh, let's investigate, shall we? That was used in the movie Jurassic Park when it was first released in, I believe, 1993. Look at that. Jurassic Park first gen Ford Explorer. If you ever bought that, big money. And there's a Mitsubishi Galant VR4 from 1991 to 92. Even though that car is a DSM and had the same power plant as the Mitsubishi Eclipse, Eagle Talon, and Plymouth Laser, the Galant VR4 was only manufactured in Japan by Mitsubishi because it would only be manufactured in Japan and brought to the US. And look at this car. That's a Mitsubishi Mirage right there. But it says Mitsubishi Lancer. But when these kinds of cars came out, this body style right there, I would remember it would be the Mitsubishi Mirage, the Eagle Summit, and I believe the Dodge Colt, if I'm not mistaken. If I ever made a mistake in a video, then correct me. And there's a right-hand drive 89 Mitsubishi Galant VR4. Wow, look at that. There's a Subaru right there, 1990, but it's supposed to be a wagon. It's not a sedan, and I don't think it's four-wheel drive. Subaru never did make four-wheel drive or all-wheel drive vehicles until sometime in the 90s and into the 2000s. I think, I don't know. And there's a 1990 sedan. And I'm guessing that's a 90 to 91. There's a Fox body. That's a 79 to 82. Oh, look at that. Remember this vehicle? That is a Suzuki X90. My neighbor had one. He had a black Suzuki X90. It was made from 1996 to 1998. And he had a 96 with a 5-speed in it. And there's a Suzuki Samurai from 1986 to 95. Not too many of them are being made. Not too many of them are ever seen on the road anymore because of so much rust and damage and rot and everything else. There's a Jeep Cherokee. That's an 84 when it was first made as a Wagoneer. It's actually the XJ Cherokee. There's a Jeep Cherokee Sport. That's a 95. Look at this van right there. That's a 91 to 95 Chrysler minivan. And Chrysler Town and Country from that same generation. And there's a 1984 to 1990 Chrysler minivan. I don't think Chrysler made a Town and Country until either probably 85 or 86. But I know the first two Chrysler minivans, the Plymouth Voyager and Dodge Caravan, were made for the 1984 model year. There's another second gen, 91 to 95. All right, guys, I'm going to cut the video. Ooh, there's a Volvo wagon. That's a 740 wagon. I think they made it from probably in the mid-80s until 1991 or 92. The 740 wagon. Then there's the Volvo 240, but it would be the last year of it for 93, this body style, and the sedan as well. There's a Jeep Wrangler right there, 87 to 95. There was no Wrangler for 96. See what kind of car this is. Infiniti J30, I'm guessing that's a 97 maybe. Alright guys, I'm going to cut the video. Hope everybody enjoys the video, and if you have any questions on it, or if you have any comments on here, you know, just do it on up. There's a 1990 to 96 Nissan 300ZX. Mitsubishi 3000 GT, 91 to 99. Although in 1993, or 94, the pop-up headlights would be replaced with the fixed headlamps, and a convertible option would be added for 95. Alright guys, I'm going against the time limit on this video, so alright, take it easy and thanks for watching.